Raider Nation, let's have a real conversation here because there's some serious concern floating around the Las Vegas Raiders right now, and it all revolves around one man, Christian Wilkins. If you've been keeping tabs on this team even a little bit this offseason, then you already know his name has been at the center of a storm brewing in the desert. This isn't about speculation anymore. This is about a lingering injury that simply won't go away, and it's starting to cast a long, ominous shadow over the upcoming season. Now, let me be straight with you. Christian Wilkins is one of the most important players on this Raiders defense, maybe even the second most crucial after Max Crosby. This defense is built to get after the quarterback. That's the identity. That's the DNA. You bring four guys, collapse the pocket, and let Crosby wreak havoc. But without Wilkins in the middle, that whole plan starts to fall apart. He's not just a big body clogging up lanes, he's the guy who draws the double. Our teams who forces offenses to shift protection, who allows Crosby, Kuntz, and others to work one-on-one. His role is foundational, and right now that foundation is looking shaky. It all comes back to the Lisfranc injury, one of the most unpredictable and frustrating injuries a football player can suffer. Wilkins had surgery on October 8th of last year, and here we are deep into the offseason, and he's still not fully back. You would expect some progress by now, right? I mean, we're past the halfway point of the recovery timeline. Yet, he remains sidelined. And look, there were rumors flying around that Wilkins was seen in a walking boot during OTAs. That turned out not to be true. He wasn't in a boot, and that alone gave some folks a sigh of relief. But the fact that the coaching staff, and specifically Pete Carroll, are being this cautious and this reserved with updates, man, that says a lot. Carroll didn't sugarcoat it either. He came out and said this is a tough recovery that Wilkins has been doing everything he can, showing up early, putting in the work, but they're not rushing it. He's simply not ready. And yeah, it's only May. We've still got June, July, August before kickoff. But you can't ignore the tone. You can't pretend this is business as usual. The truth is they're worried. And when the coaches are worried, you should be too. And I get it. This is football. Injuries happen. But a Lisfranc injury? That's not just a sprained ankle or a pulled hamstring. It's one of those that can haunt a player all season, especially a guy in the trenches. Think about it. Every snap, every play, Wilkins is exploding off that foot, planting, shifting, anchoring against double teams. That injury has to be 100% or it's going to show up in his performance. It's going to affect the way he plays, how long he stays on the field, and how much confidence the coaches have in using him in critical situations. And this isn't just about Wilkins' health, it's about the ripple effect it has across the entire defensive line. So yeah, I'm concerned. If I had to put it on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm sitting at a solid 6, maybe even creeping up to a 7. And I wasn't that high a few weeks ago. I was optimistic. I figured no boot meant we were in the clear. But hearing Carroll say what he said, hearing that it's still a challenge and that Wilkins isn't ready to get back out there yet, it changes the equation. And here's the thing, if Wilkins misses time, the Raiders don't just lose a starter. They lose the anchor of that interior defensive line. The dominoes start to fall. Now you've got to ask yourself, who's going to step up? Who's going to fill that void? And the truth is there isn't a one-for-one replacement for Christian Wilkins. There just isn't. The guy is too unique, too powerful, too disruptive. But what the Raiders can do, and what they'll have to do if Wilkins can't go, is piece it together with the depth they've got. That means looking at rookies like J.J. Paggs and Tyreek Wilson, versatile players who can play both end and tackle. That means giving real reps to veterans like Adam Butler, who was brought back on a 3-year deal and is now staring down the very real possibility of having to become the top guy on the interior. That's not necessarily what you want, but that might be what you need. And listen, I like Butler a lot. He's a great complementary piece. He brings leadership, he brings toughness, and he makes the players around him better, but he's not Christian Wilkins. He's not the guy offenses scheme against. He's not the one who makes offensive coordinators lose sleep at night. So asking him to take over as your DT1, that's a big ask. That's a shift in the entire defensive philosophy, and it changes how teams will attack the Raiders on game day. But it's not just Butler. There are a lot of names in the mix here. Rookie J.J. Paggs is a big body, 6'2", 309 pounds, and the coaching staff is going to need him to show he can handle NFL-level size and speed right away. Tonka Hemingway, drafted in the 4th round, is another guy they're hoping can make an impact. He's more of a hybrid end tackle type. And while he doesn't have Wilkins' frame or power, he brings athleticism and versatility. The key word here, versatility. You're going to hear that a lot because the Raiders don't have another Christian Wilkins, but they do have a bunch of tweeners. Guys who can line up in multiple spots and hopefully give you different looks, keep offenses guessing, and at the very least hold their own. And that's what it's going to take. If Wilkins can't go, this is going to have to be a committee effort. You're going to need everyone in that room to step up, and not just the defensive tackles. Edge guys like Tyree Wilson are going to have to bring more to the table. You're going to see a lot of shifting, a lot of mixing and matching, situational packages, third down rotations, creative alignments, anything to manufacture the kind of disruption Wilkins normally gives you on his own. So let me ask you something. Raider Nation, what's your level of concern right now? If you're sitting there saying it's just May, don't worry about it. You're not wrong. There is time. But time doesn't heal all wounds, especially in the NFL. This is a brutal game. And the margins between winning and losing, between making the playoffs or not, are razor thin. Every player matters. Every injury matters. And this one matters a lot. Now, we'll get into the names in a bit. Players who need to step up, free agents the Raiders could target, and even a possible trade scenario if things get really desperate. But for now, keep your eyes on the Wilkins situation. Watch the reports. Listen to what Pete Carroll is saying, and more importantly, what he's not saying, because the silence, the caution, the lack of firm timelines, that speaks volumes. Wilkins, if you're watching this, rest up, man. We need you. Raider Nation needs you. This defense needs you. And if you come back strong, if you return even close to full strength, this unit has the potential to surprise a lot of people. But if not, well, then it's next man up. And the next man better be ready. And if it really does come down to the next man up, then the pressure is going to fall hard on a few names. Names that might not be household just yet, but they're about to get their shot in the spotlight, whether they're ready or not. Let's start with Adam Butler again, because if Wilkins is sidelined, Butler instantly becomes the most important interior presence on that defensive line. He's already been praised for his locker room presence and his ability to elevate others around him. But now the Raiders would be asking for more. They'd be asking for leadership, for dominance in the trenches, for consistency over the course of a 17-game season. That's a tall order for any player, especially one who was ideally penciled in as the second or even third option on the depth chart. Behind Butler, the Raiders are going to need to see development from guys like Johnny Latu, a defensive tackle, who flashed potential last season and who the coaching staff has quietly been high on. He's got a bit more size than people give him credit for. And if he can bulk up just a little more this offseason, maybe gain 10 to 15 pounds of solid mass, he could be that guy who steps in and eats space. But it's not just about size. It's about technique, leverage, stamina. It's about being ready to anchor a defensive line when the real bullets start flying in September. Latu's got the opportunity, but he's going to have to prove he can take on a larger role. And quickly, another name that has to be in the mix is defensive lineman Nestor Jade Silvera, a player who came in with a lot of buzz during camp last year, but didn't quite break through the way fans hoped. But with Wilkins potentially out, there's a renewed urgency to give Silvera more meaningful snaps. He's got the raw power. He's got the motor. The question is, can he put it all together on game day? Can he be a reliable part of the rotation? These are the kinds of situations where careers are made or broken. When someone ahead of you goes down and suddenly the coaches are calling your number. But even with all these internal options, let's not kid ourselves. If Wilkins is ruled out or limited deep into training camp or preseason, the front office has to at least explore the free agent market. And I'm not talking about bringing in a guy just to fill a camp body role. I mean legitimate reinforcements. One name that stands out is Jadeveon Clowney. Yes, he's technically a defensive end, not a tackle, and no, he's not a perfect replacement for Wilkins. But this is about adapting. This is about reshuffling the deck and adding talent wherever you can. If the goal is a more traditional defensive tackle, then a guy like Quentin Jefferson becomes more interesting. He knows the system. He's familiar with the organization. He's got history with Pete Carroll from his days in Seattle. And let's not forget, he was on the Raiders roster back in 2021, and Max Crosby has gone on record calling Jefferson one of the most influential veterans he's played with. That kind of leadership, that kind of institutional knowledge, it's not flashy, but it's exactly what a team needs when they're facing uncertainty. And while Jefferson might not make the 53-man roster if everyone's healthy, he brings competition, he brings experience. And sometimes that's worth more than raw talent when things start to unravel. Now, in a worst case scenario, if the Raiders are really panicking and need a big body fast, they could even explore the trade market. Someone like John Jenkins, recently signed by the Ravens, could make sense in a pinch. He's up there in age, sure, but he's got familiarity with his Raiders defense, and he proved last season that he can still hold the line. Trading for him wouldn't cost much, maybe a late round pick. And a move wouldn't be about upside, it'd be about stability. It'd be about plugging the hole just long enough for the rest of the defensive line to hold strong. But at the end of the day, all of this, the internal reshuffling, the potential free agents, the trade rumors, it all circles back to one simple truth. The Raiders need Christian Wilkins healthy. They didn't bring him in to be a question mark. They didn't hand him a major deal just to watch him limp through camp. They invested in him because they believe he's the kind of player who can take this defense to the next level. And if he's not out there, that ceiling drops. The margin for error shrinks. And every other player on that line is going to have to raise their game just to keep the unit afloat. The coaching staff knows this. The front office knows this. The fans certainly know this. So every report from OTAs, every quote from Carroll, every update on Wilkins' status, it all matters. Raider Nation is watching closely, and they should be. Because this defense, this season, this team's identity, it hinges on what happens. Next with number 94. If he's back and healthy, there's still time to build something dangerous. But if not, it's going to be a scramble, a grind, a test of depth and determination. And one way or another, we're about to find out what this defensive line is really made of. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A major shakeup could be on the horizon in the NFL as rumors swirl around TJ Watt potentially leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers to join the Las Vegas Raiders in a blockbuster deal. According to insider whispers and emerging reports, the star linebacker might be gearing up for a seismic move that could redefine the Raiders' defensive landscape and shake up the Steelers' roster significantly. TJ Watt, widely regarded as one of the most dominant defensive players in the league, has been a cornerstone for the Steelers since he entered the NFL. Known for his relentless pass rushing, game-changing plays, and leadership on the field, Watt's impact on the Steelers' defense has been immense. However, the latest chatter suggests that the Raiders are aggressively pursuing him, possibly offering a contract package that could rival some of the highest in the league. This potential signing would mark a bold statement from the Raiders front office, signaling their intent to build a championship-caliber team around a defensive powerhouse. While details remain scarce and neither team has officially commented, sources close to the situation hint that talks are progressing quickly. The Steelers, who have long depended on Watt's presence to anchor their defense, may be facing a challenging decision if the contract demands and the allure of a new environment become too compelling. For the Raiders, landing a player of Watt's caliber could dramatically elevate their defensive unit, providing the kind of pressure and leadership that has eluded them in recent seasons. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing with speculation about how this possible move could impact both franchises. Could Watt's departure signal a rebuilding phase for the Steelers, or is this a strategic shift aimed at fresh talent acquisition? On the other hand, if the Raiders secure Watt's signature, their defense might transform into one of the most feared in the NFL, changing the competitive dynamics in the AFC West. As the offseason unfolds, all eyes will be on contract negotiations and official announcements. The possibility of TJ Watt swapping the black and gold of Pittsburgh for the silver and black of Las Vegas remains one of the most captivating storylines emerging in NFL circles. Whether this rumor turns into reality or fades away, the mere prospect of such a move has already ignited excitement and debate among football fans everywhere. Stay tuned, as this developing saga could reshape the NFL landscape in unexpected ways. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.